Welcome back. Yeah, Chicago Bears just deliver another humiliation to the woke mayor, begging them to not move to Red State. Chicago Bears are actually threatening and planning to move from Chicago because the idiot mayor can't do his job. Brian Johnson can't do his job. Which ain't surprising because let's face it, no Democrat can do their job right. Period. There's only one Democrat that ever did his job right and they killed him for it. That's John F. Kennedy. He's the only Democrat that did his job right and they had him killed. All these other Democrats can't do the job of a damn. Even one Republican like George Bush couldn't do his job right. But let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we, people? We shall.
When it came to sharing his opinion on the Chicago Bears mega projects bill, and he really made it clear here, he is not giving up on keeping the team at Soldier Field like he proposed 2 years ago. So the mega projects bill would allow the Bears to negotiate a payment to taxing bodies like a school district, park district, and Cook County instead of paying property taxes. And the mayor started off by saying Soldier Field is the best and only place for the Bears.
I'm going to, of course, continue to fight for Chicago, but it's not just the best place for the Bears to play, the lakefront. It's the most economically sound as well as economically stable idea for the Bears to remain in Chicago.
Chicago is no longer an option to keep the Bears in Illinois, specifically when it comes to a new dome stadium. And the mayor also criticized the mega projects bill. Representative Cam Buckner is the author of the bill. So the mayor argues it gives tax breaks to $1 billion corporation like the Bears instead of focusing on property owners. Representative Buckner's bill would take half the money the Bears or the mega project developers would pay instead of property taxes and divide it between local governments for property tax rebates and the rest of the state.
The type of tax structure that they would set up for large corporations and billionaires without, a clear pathway to provide certainty as well as equity for everyday working people. I believe that that's a mismatch there. And quite frankly, look, the infrastructure that they're even discussing in the suburbs, those infrastructure needs have been present on the lakefront for a very long time.
So the mayor said he has other stadium sites to keep in mind to keep the Bears in Chicago, but he didn't go into specific places.
So we got to continue our coverage of the Democrat infighting that is currently happening between woke Mayor Brandon Johnson and the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, over the Chicago Bears, who seem like they're hell-bent on leaving Chicago. Now, I want to follow up on this story because the woke mayor has basically been begging the Chicago Bears behind closed doors to stay. Apparently, he has engaged with the Bears, even after the Bears said, we're leaving. But he has been engaging with them behind closed doors in order to keep the conversation going and to undermine the Democrats' effort at the state level to get the Bears to stay in Illinois, just not in Chicago, right? For the Bears to move to Arlington Heights, which apparently is something that the woke mayor does not want, okay? And I want to talk about this because in the meantime, you have the Republicans out in Indiana. They're ready to do business, right? They've already got all their issues straightened out, right? They're ready to do business, right? They're just waiting for the Chicago Bears to say yes, while the Democrats are infighting.
Governor Braun says he expects the Bears to make a stadium decision in the next 3 or 4 weeks. The team has said it will be Arlington Heights or Hammond, and Braun thinks Indiana has the edge. Speaking to business leaders in Merrillville, Indiana Governor Mike Braun optimistic about a Bears move to Hammond.
I'll be surprised if there's anything that will equate with what we did in a place that's got a AAA credit rating.
Braun says Bears leadership was at the governor's residence as recently as last week and told our John Garcia he would hope Indiana's stadium chances are greater than 50-50.
I think they felt like they were talking to somebody that knew business, could get the state apparatus going quickly, and that's kind of where we've been.
While nearly 3 months have passed since Indiana's legislature approved a stadium measure, Illinois' mega projects bill is still in limbo, with a week and a half left in this critical legislative session. The measure that would pave the way for an Arlington Heights stadium is opposed by Mayor Brandon Johnson, and some Chicago legislators who want the team in the city.
I'm hopeful that the people who want to tank the bill are not successful.
If it doesn't happen, it will be a very dark day for Illinois, and I think that the Bears will be really, really challenged with staying in Illinois.
Braun says the ease with which Indiana has moved is something the Bears will consider in its decision.
I think the merits of where would you want to be long term, I think that's what, in my mind, if I were in their shoes, I'd be putting a lot of emphasis on that.
Right.
The current session in Springfield ends May 31st, so time is running out for Illinois lawmakers. That bill needs to pass the Senate and the House.
Yeah. So,
That ain't gonna happen.
the issue, again, is that Republicans are moving fast, right? They're showing that, hey, we're ready for business. And as the governor rightly points out, it's like, look, if you're the Bears, from a business perspective, who would you rather be long-term partners with? Democrats who are moving towards socialism, right? Let's be real. What you have happening right now is Democrats are very hesitant about giving the Bears tax benefits, right? They want the Bears to foot the whole bill, okay? Even though the Bears are going to be bringing a lot of economic opportunity to wherever they move to, right? They don't really want to help with the move, right? They want the Bears to basically fund it all themselves, which, again, leftists argue, some people argue, well, maybe they should do that. But in the real world, that's kind of not how it works, right? When you're dealing with these multi-billion-dollar organizations that, again, bring revenue, bring jobs to a state, to a city. Yes, a lot of times the cities, the states are going to be asked to get some tax cuts, right? To create tax benefits in order for the businesses to come to the state or to find the state or the city attractive, right? That's just the reality of how taxation works, right? If you have a place that's high taxes, okay, it's less likely that businesses are going to want to be there, right? They're going to try to move some wealth. That's just how it works. It is what it is, okay? People tend to go where taxes are lower, okay? I mean, well, businesses especially tend to go where taxes are lower. So, again, as the Republicans are all on the same page, they're ready for the Bears to move to Hammond, which is not that far from Chicago at all. They can still call themselves the Chicago Bears because it's really not that far away at all, okay? You have the Democrats infighting, right? You have the woke mayor coming out and basically claiming that he's having conversations with the Bears behind closed doors about staying in Chicago. He's actively trying to undermine Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Some say you're trying to kill a stadium in Illinois. Why was it okay to be all in on the Bears downtown, but it's not okay to be all in on the suburbs? If it's not Chicago, wouldn't Hammond almost benefit the city more than Arlington Heights?
Well, first of all, I was in Springfield to fight for progressive revenue. I would have much preferred to focus our energy there. In fact, for the last couple of years, Springfield has gone silent on the Bears. I was elected to defend Chicago, and I still believe that the best place for the Bears to play is in the city of Chicago. I don't know why, we would incentivize the Bears to take jobs outside of the city of Chicago. I don't know why we would incentivize property tax reprieve that they would receive when they don't have to pay property taxes in Chicago, right? Because it's a publicly owned stadium. It would remain a publicly owned stadium. The best viable location for the Chicago Bears to play is the top tourist destination. I'm going to continue to work with city council, with the state legislature, with the governor to continue to build safe and affordable communities. And the way in which we can do that is by creating 20% more green space downtown on the lakefront with thousands of jobs, and people can benefit from it economically. We're building a soccer stadium, the 1901 project on the west side of Chicago. We're building a brand new hospital for the first time in 100 years on the south side of Chicago. So all of this economic vibrancy is happening at a time in which our airport is the busiest in America. More tourists are coming here than any other time in the history of Chicago. The best place to do business is in the city of Chicago. All right, thank you all very much.
Mayor Brandon Johnson remains determined to find a way to...
I swear, that dude is fucking delusional. Your airport's leaving y'all. Y'all ain't getting no new airport. Your airport is leaving y'all fucking state. When your airport system that brings in more money coming in, y'all are not going nowhere. When the airports leave, then the football team leaves, then y'all fucking screwed. Okay? He's so freaking delusional he believes his own lies. I swear, y'all Democrats are so full of shit. Yeah, y'all need to go ahead and take some ass slacks. Get you some reading material. Get you a nice bit of toilet paper. And go into the nearest bathroom and clean yourself up. Y'all full of shit. Y'all Democrats are full of shit. Seriously. Y'all full of shit. Don't make no sense. Damn. That's so delusional. I don't even see that y'all killing yourselves. That y'all actually making stuff worse for yourselves than you need to be. But hey, Democrats are stupid, and people who vote for Democrats are stupid. You see how fucked up Democrats are, and y'all vote for the same people that keep on fucking y'all over. Then y'all wonder why it's not getting done. Because y'all voted for Democrats. Because we try to tell y'all that are here wrong, y'all don't listen. You see how things happen in Democrat states, you know it's not going right. Let me put this again. If something goes wrong in Democrat states, you know it's not going right. I'm sorry, I know people ain't gonna like that, but this is how I feel about it, man. I'm seeing what's going on. I'm watching the news. I see what these Democrats are doing. People are so stupid that support Democrats are so damn blind they don't realize what's going on. Democrats are so far to the communist side, like Germany and all them, people don't see it until it's too late. Prime example, Iran is communist. North Korea is communist. Cuba. Russia. They're all communists. Meaning, you have no free will. You have no right to speak out. None of that. Yeah, so that's how I feel about it, man. Well, I know somebody's gonna be out there talking about, oh, you can't just bash the Democrats. Oh, Democrats ain't that bad. When they actually are that bad. They're really, really bad, and people just don't see how bad they are. And when you do see how bad they are, y'all like, well, no one told us this. Actually, we did tell y'all this. Y'all was too stupid not to listen. And now y'all got y'all. Well, here's the prime example. New York City. Donald Trump warned the people, don't vote for him, don't vote for him. But what did they do? They voted for Zimlon Badani. And look what happened. Higher taxes, money being taken away, crime going like crazy, policemen defunded, businesses leaving them. Well, like my dad always say, you can't teach no dumbasses until it's too late. Too hard-headed to learn. And when what happened? Do you want to cry and whine and moan and groan and beg? But it doesn't work. So yeah. then it all goes to hell. Yep. Yeah, this is how it happens, man. So yeah. Don't feel sorry for him, not one little bit. Nope, nope, nope. Don't feel sorry for him. And nope, nope, nope. Do not feel sorry for him. He was warned. You see how he's doing shit in there, so yeah. Do not feel sorry for Chicago. I do not feel sorry for California. I do not feel sorry for New York. But let's get back to the video, shall we? Yeah. I think we need to get back to the video. So grab your popcorn and everything and watch this train wreck.
And he insists that recent discussions were only about keeping the Bears in Chicago. That despite statements from the Bears that indicate the only location they are looking at in Illinois is Arlington Heights. Mayor Brandon Johnson's unrelenting campaign to prevent the Bears from moving out of Chicago, one of several complicating factors for Illinois lawmakers who are debating a bill in the final 2 weeks of this legislative session that would provide a long-term property tax freeze for the Bears. The team says that guarantee is needed before it would move ahead with plans to build a new stadium in Arlington Heights. The mayor today describing recent talks with the Bears this way.
Recent conversations as recently as April have always been designed around what terms can we agree upon for our publicly owned stadium that the people of Chicago will benefit from.
The lead negotiator in the Illinois Senate says they were told those discussions were about the Bears' existing lease at Soldier Field, which runs through 2033.
During the course of that investigation, they shifted to hypothetical discussions about what might happen if the Arlington Heights site does not get improved. And those hypothetical discussions included reconsidering a site on the lakefront.
Mayor Johnson dismissed the proposed stadium site in Hammond, Indiana as unviable, and he said there is no plan in place for Arlington Heights. He remains eternally hopeful for Chicago.
My hope has never been lost. That's why I've maintained my position that Chicago is the best location for the Bears. The Bears believe that as well.
In a strongly worded statement, the Bears dismissing that this afternoon, saying the Chicago Bears have exhausted every opportunity to stay in Chicago, which was our initial goal. There is not a viable site in the city. As a result, the only sites under consideration are in Arlington Heights and Hammond. Another complication for the Bears involves the team's failure to provide a traffic impact study for the area around the Arlington Heights property, which lawmakers need before they can vote on infrastructure funding estimated to be around $850 million.
We're going to continue to work through these obstacles, but the Bears are going to have to step up their efforts in the legislature, working with senators and representatives if they want to see the bill pass.
Senator Cunningham suggesting that if the Bears do not move quickly, this legislative session could end on May 31st without a package to help the Bears.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, right? This story is so hilarious to me. It is a classic example of Democrats eating themselves, right? While Republicans are just chilling like, okay, right? You guys keep fighting. We're going to sit here, we're going to wait, we're ready, right? Chicago, the Bears, whenever you get ready to come over, right? We're here, okay? We're ready, okay? We're ready to do business while Democrats fight. And it's just so funny to me for so many different reasons. First and foremost, the obvious. Walt Mayor Brandon Johnson, behind closed doors, has been begging the Bears to stay, right? And he said, hey, we still talking. We're still talking. There's still a chance, right? There's still a chance they can stay. And the Bears immediately came out and said, no, that's not true, right? There's no chance that we're staying in Chicago. Like immediately, like almost immediately after the woke mayor suggested that there was a chance that they could stay, the Chicago Bears came out and said, nah, that's BS, right? that ain't true. Which is humiliating, right? Absolutely humiliating for the mayor. Okay? Also on top of that, you have the Democrats that are currently debating legislation. They're requiring that the Bears provide a traffic study. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what the traffic study entails, but I mean, they only play a few Sundays out of the year. Maybe they're asking for a traffic study, for what's going to happen throughout the whole year, based off the traffic at the site in general, because it's a mega site, so it's not just going to be the Bears using it, right? It's going to be used for a lot of different things. Regardless, they're asking the Bears to do work in order for them to pass a bill to help keep the Bears in Illinois, right? Almost as if they're like, well, we don't really need the Bears, right? The Bears can leave if they want. That is the posture that Democrats are taking at the state level. It is, in my opinion, it looks like it may backfire, right? If they don't get their stuff together here quickly, the Bears could be leaving Illinois all together. So without further ado, let's learn a little bit more about what's going on. This is the latest.
We have admittedly said this a lot over the last 3 years, but next week will be a big week. Likely the most important week we've had in this Bears Stadium saga, because it's the state legislators' final week in the spring session down in Springfield. So will we finally have an answer on whether the Bears are going to move to the former racetrack site in Arlington Heights? NBC5's Rose Schmidt has been following this for months and months. She's here on where it all stands on this Friday afternoon. Rose?
Alex, we sure want an answer. And Governor Pritzker today says his priority is keeping the Bears in Illinois. He specifically said Illinois, not Chicago. There were questions about whether Chicago was still in the mix, but the governor says he's listening to the Bears and the NFL. Both say Chicago is out.
I've seen miracles happen every year, every single year.
Governor Pritzker might be suggesting a miracle is what it'll take to get a stadium deal done. And next week, we'll see if lawmakers are up to the task.
I don't think any of the legislators are unclear about what my position is. I want businesses in the state of Illinois to stay in the state of Illinois and not move to another state.
The Bears clarified again Thursday that Arlington Heights and Hammond are the only viable sites, despite contact between the team and Chicago last month. Senators will return to Springfield Monday evening to work on the mega projects bill, which would give the Bears property tax breaks to build a new stadium in Arlington Heights. But not everyone is on board.
We all want businesses and good paying jobs here, but there's a lot of issues with the mega project right now, and there are not enough checks and balances, clawbacks if businesses don't do what they need to do.
State Senator Rachel Ventura says she's a no vote right now, largely because she's concerned giving the Bears a break on taxes will end up hurting taxpayers.
If they don't want to pay property taxes, they can stay in Soldier Field. What a beautiful stadium that is.
Lawmakers have a host.
Or they can move to Indiana, right? They can move to a red state, right? Again, it's almost as if she forgets that that is an option, right? That they can do that. They don't have to stay in Illinois.
Some other priorities next week, from the budget to affordable housing legislation. And remember, even if the Senate passes the mega projects bill, it still has to go back to the House. And lawmakers have just 9 days to get this all done. No pressure there, because the session ends May 31st. And coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll talk to a state senator who says this process has been far too drawn out, and he puts the blame on Bears CEO Kevin Warren and the McCaskey family. Alex, back to you.
Seems like we're really down to crunch time on this.
We keep saying that, I know.
Yeah, I
Can
know.
anything happen?
I know you'll be all over it next week, too.
We sure will.
Thank you so much.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. This is Democrat governance, folks. Unorganized. They don't know how to do business, right? They're blaming the Bears. They're putting all the blame on them. It's like, okay, well, if the Bears are so evil, they're so bad, right? If billionaires are bad, if, big multi-billion-dollar organizations, entities, companies are bad, then just allow them to lead them, right? That seems to be the posture of some of the Democrats at the state level. I mean, I think that's the posture of Brandon Johnson as well, too, right? But, he's pretending as if he's trying to keep them there for PR purposes. But a lot of this comes from the fact that the Democrat Party at its core has become a party that is not very business friendly. That's what you're seeing here. Mm-hmm. That's what you're seeing here. They literally are anti-business in principle, right? In principle, they are anti-business, and that's what's showing up. Republicans, on the other hand, are open for business. They are basically saying, hey, yeah, you can come here. We're going to work with you. right? And it's going to be a win-win for Republicans and the Bears if the Bears decide to move to Indiana. I don't understand, why is it even taking so long for them to make a decision? I think that decision is obvious, right? Who's a better long-term partner? They can move to Hammond and still call themselves the Chicago Bears. They can still have a presence in Chicago. I mean, if anything, I think they have more of a presence in Chicago if they move to Hammond than they would if they moved to Arlington Heights, which I think that's part of the reason why the governor and the mayor are at odds, because I low-key think that the mayor wants the Bears to move to Hammond, right? I think he's like, hey, my socialist branding does not allow me to make Chicago a business-friendly environment for the Bears. So just from an ideological perspective, he's not willing to play ball with the Bears, right? Which, I think is shameful on his part. But I think that he's calculating that, well, the next best option really is to have them move to Hammond, and they still have, a significant presence in Chicago. It wouldn't hurt the city as much as it would if they moved to Arlington, okay? And it could be preferable, right, for the mayor, for the Bears to move to Hammond instead of Arlington Heights, if they're not going to stay in Chicago, which it looks like right now they're not going to. I mean, they immediately came out and shot down the woke mayor, suggesting that they can stay, which should tell you a lot about how they actually feel about staying in Chicago. But the conspiracy theorist in me believes that low-key, the infighting between woke mayor Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker is personal, right? They have not been on the same page since the woke mayor was elected. So they're not necessarily on the same side. They've been butting heads a lot, okay? And I think it's spilled over into this Chicago Bears issue, and is ultimately going to be a win